Hey, gorgeous! Welcome to the Business Mindset Podcast with Holly Wharton, which combines powerful strategies on how to upgrade your business mindset, along with practical business tips to grow your business. This podcast features solo shows with Holly and also interviews with inspiring women entrepreneurs from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. And now, here's your host, Holly Wharton.
Hello and welcome to the Business Mindset Podcast, episode 158. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm here with today's special guest, Joanna Hennon, who is back for the second time on the show. She was originally a guest on episode 86. Joanna is a soul wisdom mentor who helps change makers and visionaries create what they want with intention. So excited to have you back on the show. Welcome, Joanna.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Yay! All right, so some of our listeners may have heard your previous episode, but that was actually quite a long time ago. So why don't we start out by having you tell us a little bit about your background and your business journey and how you got to where you are today with your business?
Right. Well, how did I get where I am today? Well, it started with a nervous breakdown, which basically just gave me the space in my life to look at things and reassess whether I was where I would want it to be and maybe, what life could look like if I made some changes. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't allow the space, the universe made me take space.
Yeah. I've heard that story so many times.
But because of the space taking or giving, a lot of things just came my way during that time, and one of those things was information about the law of attraction. Another was information about soul wisdom and channeling and spirit guides. I ended up signing up for a course on intuitive art, which was based on channeling or kind of mixed in with channeling, and that's where I learned to channel. Learned aloud again, and it kind of. I guess I just decided I wanted a change, and then waited to see what would happen.
So you're just kind of experimenting with all these things in the meantime, and
I was experimenting for a while, and what I really wanted to do in the world became very clear very quickly, and that was to help people create their world. And in fact, that's what my blog was called in my first business years, were called Create Your World, because that's kind of what I discovered in this whole time period was that we had the possibility, the power to create anything we wanted. And I'd come from this path and past of victimhood, this poor me energy. Why is this happening to me? Why is life so hard? Why do other people have it so easy and I always have it so hard? That kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. That was kind of pervasive from my teenage years until my early 30s. So quite a huge chunk of my life.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I got these tools and this kind of inkling that that I could choose something else, that it was in my power to choose something else. And that just changed everything. And although I complain a lot that things aren't going fast enough.
Don't we all?
In fact, things have gone super fast because this was only a few years ago. And now I'm in a completely different space. I can recognize very easily when I start slipping into poor me energy, and I have the tools to bring me back out.
So that's a major mind shift change, to go from, oh my God, poor me, to I can create my world, whatever I want. What do you think was the biggest factor in helping you make that change?
It was self-confidence and self-knowledge. So the intuitive art process, which is part of what I teach now, is kind of just shone a light on who I was and what was important to me and how I worked and what my beliefs were. It showed me my beliefs, It just brought to light things that I believed about the world. And in fact, that was the first step of the process. I didn't actually start with changing things. I spent a good, couple of years really just learning about myself and how I viewed the world and what I wanted,
Yeah.
what I wanted. What did I even now when I work with clients, that's one of the biggest obstacles is to actually for people to phrase what they want to create in detail.
Yeah. I think that's one of the hardest things, because if you've been living a life where you do what you think you should do or what other people tell you should do, you're working a job that you don't like, but you feel like, well, it brings in the money, so I should keep going. You're so used to living a life of shoulds, you never stop and think about what you really, really want. And so that's just such a big shift.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's, we talk about limiting beliefs a lot and, in this kind of work and your work as well, the mindset work. And it's so hard. Like I always say that it's really hard to identify limiting beliefs because to you, they're not a belief. They're the truth. They're like this. Here's a really great tip. Whenever you find yourself saying, oh, this is just the way the world works, or this is just the way things are, examine that. That's where the limiting beliefs are hiding. We're in the places where you've accepted them as truth.
Yes. Question those beliefs. Like, is that really a rock hard, concrete, solid fact, or is that a belief?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that, kind of the whole basis for the work I do now.
So you did all of this kind of discovery, self-exploration period. At what point did you decide to put all of that into a business?
During one of my intuitive art classes, I think I told the story in the other episode, so I'll just do it quickly. But during one of the intuitive art classes, I had this voice in my head, and it turned out to be one of my spirit guides. And that totally freaked me out. But it also showed me, once I accepted that it was happening, it also showed me what was possible. And I just felt like I was part of something bigger, and I always felt really jealous of people who could channel and who had these guides. And then it was happening to me, and I was like, oh, so I can also do these things, that means maybe I can also make these changes. I also am supported. And that's part of the reason why I don't teach people to channel as such anymore, but it's always part of my work. Because that knowledge, that understanding that you are supported, that you have a team somewhere out there, it's really comforting.
And did you have any challenges as you were building your business? Because I know not everyone is aware of this concept of spirit guides or believes in them. Did you have any challenges about putting yourself out there as this person who works in this way?
Oh, totally. I mean, now I call myself the Soul Wisdom Mentor. And I remember the first emails I sent out, I was trying to explain what I do without using the word soul or spirit. It was really hard. And nobody responded because nobody knew what I was talking about.
It's because you weren't saying it.
So then I started using the word soul. And then I came out of the channeling closet, as I called it, and said I was a channel openly, and it kind of built on from there. But yeah, I work with a lot of weird stuff, and I've had a lot of weird stuff happen to me, and it's not, people don't always believe it. But for me, it doesn't really matter whether you believe in it, as wholeheartedly and literally as I do. Or whether you take it as metaphor, for me, it's the results that matter.
Yes.
So whatever, if working with these concepts brings you to better results in your business, in your life, to more fulfillment, more success, more clients, more money, all those things, then it's a winner, right? The process is a winner. It doesn't really matter in the end if it's real or not.
Yeah, it's like how I feel when people, talk about homeopathy and people who say that it doesn't work, that it isn't anything. I just think if you tried it and got results, who cares if it's not scientific or not, tested in the medical field? If it gets you results, that's the important thing.
Yeah, I really, really believe that. And I think, it has to resonate with you, obviously. Yeah. So don't try things that don't resonate with you. But you, as a soul, so this is the basis of my belief system, that you are not just a human being, you're a soul having a human experience. Oh, yeah. And as a soul, you can feel what the right things are for you. So you can feel the truth in something. Like if I say you're a soul and something within you goes, oh my gosh, that's true. Then you resonate with that kind of work. Right?
Yeah, even if you don't fully understand it. It's like you get that gut feeling that there's something there.
Yeah. Oh, we can't fully understand it. And I will challenge anybody who says they fully understand it. Because it's not possible. I don't think our human brains can understand what it actually is. We're all kind of getting glimpses and bits that we're downloading, I always call it. Yeah. And that's it, and then we interpret it through our own filters. Right? And then some of us will share it with others. Yeah. That's all.
So do you feel like there's a tipping point in your business once you got to that stage where you started using the word soul, came out as a channel, and started really being more specific about the kind of work that you do?
I think the tipping point came really once I accepted the law of attraction part of it. So really the conscious creation, because before that I was really fooling around with like readings and stuff like that. It was fun and I was doing fine. I'm a very good channel, so that was fine. But it wasn't, I got really upset when people wouldn't act on the guidance.
Yeah.
So I got really attached to people's results, and just getting a reading or just getting kind of a channeled session isn't enough to change things.
Yeah. I agree.
Right.
I have the same thing as well. I'm still struggling with being too attached to my clients' outcomes. My husband is always saying, you've got to detach from it. You can't, you can't go over to their house and make them take action. So you just need to let go of it.
Yes, indeed. So I was once, and then when I was led to the law of attraction stuff, it became easier because the action is easier, I find.
Yeah.
When you take it from that space. And so really the tipping point in my business came about when I totally accepted my soul power, which is funny because that's what I always said I taught people to do, or I guided people towards. And it was, of course, what I also needed to learn most, right?
Yeah.
So once I really accepted that power, that I'm in control, and if I don't like something, I can wallow and cry and eat ice cream.
Which is never a bad thing.
It's never a bad thing. Never a bad thing if you don't get stuck in it. Right? So so I really just played with this concept of feeling emotions, but moving through the emotions.
Yeah.
And that's both for more negative and more positive emotions. So anything that stops you from moving forward, like, is not good. So if you get stuck in happiness and you're just like celebrating the whole time and that's it, then progress stops too,
Yes.
So it really relies on that inspired action forward.
Yeah. So today we came together to talk a little bit about how to get better results in your business by accessing your soul power. So first of all, can you tell us a little bit about how we can access our soul power?
Oh, there are so many ways. There are so many ways. It's it really depends on what you resonate with and what feels fun to you. So your soul, your soul wants to experience love and joy and have fun. Like, these are really, really core values. So wherever the fun leads you is the right thing for you. So when you talk about soul power and taking action from the soul space, taking action from an expanded self. So it's like you're not taking action just from, the space of Holly in this life, but from something bigger. And so you have more perspective and you have access to that guidance and intuition. So all the things that you know when you're born, that we kind of forget along the way.
Yeah.
And you have access to all the kind of tricks that the soul knows. And one of the ones that I've been playing with recently is the concept of the parallel self, which is just super fascinating to me because I've always been into the quantum physics thing of parallel universes. Maybe I watched too much Buffy. I don't know.
Or Fringe.
Or Fringe. Yeah. But like, there was just now I said, sometimes you feel the truth somewhere, and that's what I have with the parallel dimensions. So
let's talk a little bit about, I think many of us have seen the concept of parallel universes and parallel dimensions on television, and that may or may not reflect reality. So how do you see parallel dimensions, and what the heck is that?
I kind of see it as our infinite potential. So I feel like, all the possibilities exist at one time. So it's just that your consciousness is in this possibility, right? And it's all about vibration of energy. So if you vibrate at a higher level, you can shift your consciousness to a parallel world where things are slightly different. So maybe where you have more money,
Yeah, more clients.
More clients, right? So I've been working with this concept of connecting with that self. So that me, that Joanna, who already has what I want. So we talked about this before. The basis is knowing what you want to create, right?
Yeah.
And then I consciously ask to connect, just like in channeling, just like connecting with my guides. I connect in with the Joanna who has what I want. And I just see what she's like and what she's doing and what she's thinking and what she's, what she is being or doing that I am not.
And how do you make this connection? Is this just kind of a visualization thing that you go into? Is there some special process that you use?
Yeah, I use visualization. So I guide people through visualization. And it's really feeling into it, So I don't think you need somebody else's visualization. If you're confident with energy work, you can totally do it, just like that. It's just intentions, the power of intention. So if you intend to connect with your soul self before you do some intuitive art, and that happens, you can set the intention to be shown to connect with your parallel self who has all this money and all these clients.
Okay.
and just see, usually I find that she is thinking something that you're not thinking, so her beliefs, this is where I start working with the beliefs that you want to see reflected back to you. So you see what the parallel person or energy believes to be true about the world, right? So right now you may believe that people don't see you online, right?
Yeah.
But the parallel you, if she's experiencing money and clients, she doesn't believe that nobody sees her online because her reality is different. She believes that people see her all the time, that she's super visible, right?
So when you access these parallel dimensions or parallel realities or parallel selves, so you go in through the visualization and you're looking at what she's thinking, are you looking at what she's doing, how she's behaving? What other kinds of things are you looking at?
All the details. So I try to really, really get into a specific point in time and see, just where she is. If there are any smells, is there anything cooking? Are there any sounds? Just so I can really be there. The point is kind of to transport yourself into something, into an experience. And then I see what she's thinking, and then I do the beliefs. But if I can get a good feeling for what she feels like in her environment, then I can easily transport myself there anytime I want,
Okay. So that means that you're kind of going back and accessing this particular self.
Yeah, and then seeing what she would do.
Okay.
Right?
So sometimes you'll go back to the same particular self and kind of learn more details?
It's almost like I bring her energy here. Yeah, it's so hard to explain because
not too many people are talking about this.
No, not too many people are talking about this, but it's just really fun because basically I just accept that there's me, and then there's this more successful version of me. I just work with the two, right? And there has to be something that she's doing that I'm not, otherwise there wouldn't be the gap, right? So I just try to zone in on that, and then once I have a good connection with her, I can, when I go to post something on Facebook or something, I can, I can just feel into her and say, okay, what would she post about? What would she do? Because you want to be making your decisions from the place of already having what you want rather than the lack that you're experiencing now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. And you need to understand what thought processes and beliefs that you need to have in place in order to take those actions.
Yes. So that's the kind of consistent work. So I work on those beliefs every day. And that's what I encourage my clients to do, is to phrase them in a powerful way, in the present tense, and then spend time with them. I mean, the idea is really simple, is to spend more time with what you do want than what you don't want. Yeah. All of it boils down to that. It's just that for me, the parallel self way is fun.
Yeah.
So it kind of, it floats my boat. I think I'm like, oh, this is really cool that I can do this.
So how would you recommend someone else who's maybe listening to this and thinks, oh, I want to give that a try? That sounds weird, but fun. How can they give this a try at home?
I'd just say close your eyes. So just, focus and center your energy. Like if you've never meditated before, then maybe you need to do a bit of that first.
Yeah.
To be able to center your energy, connect with the earth, all that kind of thing. And then really just visualize yourself in a space where you're as successful as you want to be. Now that could be, speaking from the stage or, in your office writing a book, like whatever that is, just choose one visual.
Yeah.
And just visualize what happens there. Just spend some time there and see what happens. That's really just have fun with it,
And then in terms of taking action, once you've come back from that visualization, what kinds of actions do you need to take to really make sure that you're incorporating what you've learned into your business?
Yes. Okay, I think that for me, the basis of this is the beliefs. So this is really the core, because you want to be really clear on what you want to see in the world. So when I say beliefs, I actually mean what you want the world to look like, rather than what it looks like to you now. So when you come back from your visualization, do some journaling from her perspective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What does her world look like? Like, what is being reflected back at her? I can, I'll guarantee it'll be something like loads of clients come easily, and there's plenty of money in my bank account, and I can take this holiday that, it's all those sorts of things that she already has. But experiencing them as if you already had them, that's the magic.
Okay.
That's the magic. The only kind of but that I'll add is that you need to be really, really aware of any negative feelings coming up for you. So like if you're imagining, this person and she has loads of ideal clients, then you're doing your journaling about the beautiful clients that are coming to you. And then, and your mind keeps going, oh, that's never going to happen. Then there's some deeper work that needs to be done.
Yeah, or if you're starting to feel like you're jealous of the other you, or...
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but yes.
Yeah, well, no, because I'm thinking, imagine, you see this other woman who's looking like you. She's got this amazing life, and you're like, damn, bitch, I don't,
But it's you.
Yeah, I know, but...
It's your potential.
Yeah.
Right, and I was going to say highest potential, but it's not, because I imagine what we're all envisioning now is kind of the next steps. I like to work with the next steps. Once you become her, once you achieve your success, like it's not like the road is done, right? I'm pretty sure you're going to want something else.
Yeah, yes. I'm done. It's all over.
Yeah, that's all good now. I'm leading the perfect life.
Yes.
There's always going to be something, a trip or, Oprah or something that, where you will go further, right?
Mm-hmm. So going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, about getting better results in your business by accessing your soul power, would you say this is one of the kind of easiest, most effective ways of accessing your soul power to get better results in your business?
In my experience, yes. So I've really experimented with a lot of things, and there are a lot of other ways that I work with that kind of where you need to do the groundwork. So that's really the self-exploration stuff and self-acceptance and that kind of thing. We work a lot with intuitive art there. But for actually creating what you want, I have found this to be really the fastest way to get better results, because like I used to work a lot with a future version of myself, and but when you're working with a future version, there's always that gap, right?
It's always in the future.
It's always in the future, yeah. And there's always like all these things that you need to do in order to reach that, And
rather than looking at it from the perspective that some version of me is already there doing this.
Yeah. So, I mean, they say, the spiritual teachers and, the entities that we channel and stuff, like they all say that if we're able to dream it, then we're able to manifest it, right? So whatever, like if you want that success, then it exists. Like it's there for you to take. You don't have to create it. So I talk a lot about creating because people do connect with the word a little bit better, but in fact, it's manifesting, right? Because creating requires effort.
Yeah.
And manifesting literally just appears, right? Now, I'm not here to say, that if you want a Ferrari, it'll just appear. I don't think that's going to happen.
It might, probably not, but maybe.
Probably not. The way I see it is that when we talk about manifesting and creating things, it's not like you create them from scratch. You attract them into your experience, right? So,
there is some action that you need to take to get there.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yes. And part of that's the mindset work and action, and the belief work and the visualization and that kind of thing. And then there's what I call inspired action, which is actual action taken based on what you've learned, right? So what would that parallel self do, right? If you're running a super successful business and earning all this money and attracting all these clients, pretty sure you're not sitting on your butt watching reruns, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. You're probably like writing your first book, like you're doing something that's going to spread that message wider, right?
But taking action, as you've said, from this kind of inspired place, it's so much easier because you're not like trudging through the mud. It's just kind of happening easier.
Yeah, I think we find it very difficult to accept that our natural kind of state and birthright, or whatever you want to call it, is flow and ease and joy. And that, so if you follow those things, if you follow the things that bring you joy, if you follow those things that kind of make you kind of curious and filled with wonder, that childlike, wonder, and if you, allow things to be easy and consciously choose for things to be easy, then everything changes, because you're creating then from a place of soul power. You're creating you're creating things that are in alignment with your soul purpose, with your soul self, with your like super deep core values, not just in this lifetime, but across lifetimes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not going against anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of flowing.
It's just kind of flowing. You know, the challenge, of course, is in allowing it to flow when we're living in a world where that's not so encouraged, where struggle is glorified, right?
Yeah. Oh, God, you gotta work hard.
Yeah, it's not worth having if it's not
Yes, you
too
gotta
hard work.
suffer.
No pain, no gain.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've been there. I think we all have.
Yeah. So this is, I think this is my big message to the world, is that it doesn't have to be that way. And if you connect in with your soul power, things become easier. Yeah. Now, you still have to take action. So it's not like you won't have to do the things, but opportunities show up.
Yes.
And miracles happen.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot of it is perception. Like, okay, I know this is like an actual public podcast and lots of people will listen to this, but I'll share this anyway.
Go for it.
It's really fun because one of my beliefs that I've been consistently stating, so I spend time with what I want every day, you know, and I really feel into what it would be like to have it.
Yeah.
And one of mine is my bank account is expanding. Every time I look in there, it seems how do I phrase it? It seems that it feels like it's expanding when I'm not looking. That's what it was.
Ooh.
Yeah, it feels like it's expanding when I'm not looking. And I swear, Holly, like it's just the most bizarre thing, but that actually happens. Like I go in there and it does feel like that. Now, you know, whether it's just multiplying in there or not, I don't know. Probably not, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think the banks work that way anymore. Interest is kind of like non-existent.
Yeah, but it feels like it's expanding, right? So I feel very, very abundant.
Yeah.
It feels like magic, honestly. Like it's always more than I thought, or, you know, like there's always something unexpected in there, always in my favor. So it feels like it's expanding when I'm not looking.
Well, it's because you've been focusing on it on a
exactly.
daily basis.
But that's inviting miracles and magic that, you know, I like to set these kind of mini goals, these belief things, not super specifically and not super kind of only on like the things that are physically possible. I like to invite the magic in. And then, you know, like, you know, if I state that magical things happen to me and my family every day, then when things happen to us, I'm like, oh, that's a magical thing, you know?
Of course.
And it's fun. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's not, there's no struggle there. It's fun. You know? And then like, if I keep saying that the perfect opportunities to move my work forward, you know, come every day, then when I meet a new person, I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is my big opportunity.
So it's like a game.
Yeah, it makes it a game, you know, and you're constantly kind of looking out for this magic and these perfect opportunities. And it just makes it so much fun to talk to people.
I like that.
Yeah, it's fair.
So, Joanna, how can other women entrepreneurs work with you? If they've listened in today and they're thinking, I kind of want to learn more about this.
If you want to learn more about this, then come find me. I'm on Facebook a lot.
Okay.
So just Joanna Hennon. My website is joannahennon.com. I run something called the Soul Space, which is a membership group with live support. So that's always really important to me.
Yes.
So it's not just passive stuff. I have 2 live coaching calls where you can come and ask me anything about manifesting or business or anything at all a month. In the Soul Space, that's where I put all the visualizations and I run these courses from and stuff like that. So if you're interested in starting with this stuff, then check it out.
Great. And as a final question, are there any women business mentors? There any women entrepreneurs who inspire you? Maybe some who are working with similar kinds of ways of making business easier and flowing?
Ooh, there are so many people who inspire me. I'm very much inspired by you, Holly. Actually. Yeah, I really am. I really love what you do and I love your energy. I'm very much inspired by my 2 coaches. That's Natasha Corbin in Australia and Lenka Lutonska, who's in the UK. And really, I'm inspired by anyone who has the courage to go out there and scale their message and, you know, and really go for it. So, yeah, I think that's it. And it doesn't really matter if you have a following of thousands or not. to me, it's really about that courage to put yourself out there in a way that's authentic and fully aligned with your soul power so that people can see the amazing, powerful being that you truly are.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was such a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me. I hope some of that made sense.
And if not, just get in touch with Joanna and she'll explain it to you.
Most definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. And remember to visit hollywharton.com/158 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Business Mindset Podcast with your host, Holly Wharton. You can find more information about today's episode, including links for topics that were discussed at hollywharton.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to head over to iTunes and leave a quick review of this podcast. It just takes a minute. Thank you.